My Lord, I have only 2 submissions to make, my Lord. On the objections raised by the defense in the inclusion, my Lord, of the new evidence. My Lord, as my learned friends have submitted the reasons that needs to be considered on this application, and one of the reasons, my Lord, is the delay, reason for the delay in leading or in introducing the evidence that a party intends to introduce at this stage. The reason, my Lord, which I found on the heads of the argument submitted by the state in respect of accused number 2 is that the state only had an opportunity to go through its own evidence, which is 5,467 photos. And it's only then they realized that the state wanted to introduce this evidence. When I read through the heads of the arguments of the state, my Lord. My Lord, my submission is that so it means the state, at the time when the state was supposed to finish the defense, in particular accused number 2, with further, full and better particulars in order to enable accused number 2 to prepare his defense, the state did not comply with those provisions, because the state is saying, my Lord, on its own heads of arguments, they only had the opportunity to go through the evidence during the adjournment when Advocate Mnisi was preparing for his cross-examination. That on its own, my Lord, it shows that the state was reckless in reading and analyzing and preparing the evidence that the state wanted to introduce, that the state wanted to use against accused number 2. It shows that the state from the outset never intended to use the information or the evidence that they now intend to introduce, because it was lying in their hands, but they elected not to introduce such evidence, my Lord. And therefore, that on its own has violated the rights of the accused to a fair trial, in that he had not been afforded with an opportunity to prepare his defense case from the outset of the trial. Therefore, the inclusion of this evidence, my Lord, will affect the right to a fair trial of accused number 2 on the basis of the reason that has been submitted by the state. Then on the part of accused number 3, my Lord, also on the reasons for the delay, the state on its own heads of argument, my Lord, indicated that it is the investigating officer who picked and chose the photos that were supposed to be included in Exhibit S, which was presented before this court. Therefore, it means, my Lord, at the time when the state was preparing the evidence, the state was in receipt of this evidence, and therefore it was the issue of the investigating officer to pick and choose which evidence to be presented and which evidence not to be presented against accused number 3 in respect of the pictures that the state had at the time when they were preparing Exhibit S, my Lord. Also, it means, my Lord, the state was negligent on their part. Also, my Lord, it goes further to say also the state has failed to give accused number 3 the evidence, or to furnish, not to give, my lord, to furnish accused number 3 with further, full and better particulars in order to enable accused number 3 to prepare his defense case, my lord. Now, the introduction of this new evidence at this stage, my lord, will be prejudicial to both accused because the reason submitted by the state for failure to include such information at the beginning, it shows that they were reckless. The state was reckless, my lord, or did not pay particular attention to the evidence that they intended to use. My lord, I may submit that the inclusion of such evidence will be prejudicial to the accused, my lord. Those are my submissions only.
Thank you. Any response?
Family, I'm back again. I just want to talk about what the judge and the prosecutor are doing in court. Judge Rata, we know that he is always complaining when it comes to the defense side that, oh, the JP will say this, he will report such. And the last complaint that we had now, it was the one when Mnisi wrote an email. In that email, he was talking about that he was going for the marathon, which is the Comrade Marathon. But Rata had to spew a lot of things until he found himself in a serious problem because of his slip of tongue. So what is happening in that court? It looks like the defense, no matter how much they try, they're not winning the battle. I think it's about time now that the judge recuse himself. Or it's about time, if he happens to, I think now, because Rata, according to me, he understands the language of white lawyers. He's not going to understand our people. That's why he never even valued them. He ran them on the ground and say whatever he wants to say because he's got no respect of black lawyers or black professionals. No matter how much they can do a diligent work, but to him it's like they're doing nothing. So family, this is really bad because when this delay is being done by the prosecutor, they had these pictures for the longest time since the trial started. They wouldn't have called this case to start if they didn't have all. But now, when they see that their puzzle is not connecting, they try to build a case. When the puzzle falls apart, they try again to build. These are delaying tactics that the prosecutor, judge involved, and Gininda involved. They are delaying this case. That's why the JP is looking on the other side when it comes to the prosecutor, to Rata and Gininda, because it looks like the team leli lamakuptas. Leli nje team yamakuptas lena akufuneki sidlale sibe solo sibheka lena. Labantu they are finishing our justice system and they are going to finish it because nobody wants to take any actions against them. You can't tell me that the same judge who has been complaining when Mnisi was going for this Comrade Marathon, now there's no complaint when this is happening. Because he should have raised the question that, BALOI, this thing you knew and these pictures were selected long ago. You had all the time in the world. Now they start to bring out Mnisi, that Mnisi, they started recovering these pictures while Mnisi was preparing for accused number 1 as he took over. It doesn't make sense. So now I think the best thing is Mshololo did address this issue, that he sees this delay and he's noting it so that when this case goes further on appeal, all these kind of things will come up. What do you think, family, about what the judge is doing? Because the judge, you could see the way he is frowning his face, looking at the defense. He can't even pretend it. He can't pretend it. And it's kind of hard when you look at what is going on in court. You just kiss your teeth and just think like, what exactly the judge is up to. There is a lot that we don't know that is going to happen in that court. And everybody will be surprised because what we are seeing there, we are seeing a judge continue to bully the defense. He's not listening anywhere. Even at some point, whenever the defense is talking, he take a good concentration or on the when the witness brigadier say something, he really concentrate on it. And same to the prosecutor, they really concentrate on those ones. But when it comes to the defense side, he doesn't have time for the defense. He even play with his pen, knocking it up and make noise in the speakers, not knowing that when he hits that pen, it go all over, it disturb the cameras and the audios. But nobody's telling him about that because he just needs something to play with. But he doesn't do it when it comes to Gininda. When Gininda is talking, when BALOI is talking, he take notes, he understand what they're saying. Family, what do you think about this? Do you think the judge is still fair? Will deliver a good judgment? I have gave up with this judge. But what I like, the lawyers are getting to understand the judge better, and they know they've presented their case, they try their level best, so that when they go for appeal, they will still win it. What do you think, family? Drop your comments. Bravo, bravo.